Great seeing you here in this last teaching video of lesson 16, project execution, monitor and control, and still part of our masterclass in project management. In this last video, I want to talk about the reactions to variances. We've seen about variances, we want to do something about it, but what can we do? Basically, we have to consider schedule and cost variances. We must interpret the essence of these variances and what actions will we undertake. So let's have a look at the schedule and cost variances. Schedule variances relate to the differences between the planned start and finish dates of activities and the actual start, finish, and duration. Cost variance relates to the difference between the planned expenses and the actual expenses. Cost variances relate to the budgeted cost and show how the budget is being spent. It's important information for the financial planning officer. When we interpret the variances, when we look at negative variances, these are defined to be bad news. We define the variances in a way that a negative value is bad news. The project is either late or is over budget. Positive variances are good news. The project is ahead of schedule or below the planned budget. Schedule variances can be deducted directly from the account, but where do we have the variances? Are these on the critical path task or not? What about the slack? It's very important to understand when we have schedule variances on the critical path, it will have a direct impact on the duration of the project, while variances on non-critical path activities don't have or do not have that impact. Cost variances may be more difficult to interpret. Are there really indications of overspending, or is it due to different spending? We may buy something faster and we have some opportunity to buy some items before we plan them. So we have to interpret those costs also. We have a saving somewhere, 50%. If we buy it now, we have the possibility. So we save later in the project. But it may look, when we're considering the cost and comparing the actual cost with the planned cost, that there may be a difference. What actions to undertake? Well, we see some movements on the left-hand side. We see sinus curves with increasing and decreasing amplitude. We must avoid that we have a kind of yo-yo effect. We must, first of all, find out when we look at this, is there a real problem? Because if there is not a real problem, we can enter in a cycle of a kind of yo-yo effect. When we look at this, it may be normal that those variances are just normal and we may decide to do nothing. When we look at panic and overreactions, this doesn't help anything. A managed approach is of key importance. When we have variances, well, the green curve is more interesting. We're going slowly to stability. Of course, we don't like the oscillations, but we see that the difference is reducing over time. When we act, let's say, emotionally, or we act without really thinking, we may end up in the red line where we see that the differences are increasing. And these are typical things you can find on certain systems, electronic systems, aviation systems, but they give a good image what can happen when we don't take the appropriate measures. That was it for this video, and also it's the last teaching video for this lesson. So that's it, and let's continue. I will see you in the next video, which is summarizing this lesson, and then we go to lesson 17, where we'll be talking about closing the project or the phase. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Bye-bye.